Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. If you have been following the rise of Alexandra Eala over the past year, you'll understand why so many fans entered the Qatar Open with huge expectations. There was genuine excitement surrounding her arrival in Doha, not just because she is one of the brightest young stars in women's tennis, but because of the incredible momentum she carried from the previous week. The Middle East swing is always a crucial period on the WTA calendar, especially early in the season, and for a player like Eala, every tournament is another opportunity to solidify her place among the elite names of the tour. But sport can be brutally unpredictable, and what looked like the perfect setup for another deep run quickly turned into a harsh reminder of how fine the margins are at the WTA 1000 level. Coming into the Qatar Open, Eala had every reason to feel confident. Her performance at the Abu Dhabi Open showed clear progress in her game and maturity in her mindset. Reaching the quarterfinals of a WTA 500 event is never easy, especially when you are battling experienced players week after week on fast hard courts. During that tournament, she displayed resilience, tactical growth, and the ability to handle pressure moments. Fans and analysts alike began to talk about her not just as a promising talent, but as a player ready to consistently challenge inside the top 50 and possibly beyond. That run built excitement heading into Doha, a much bigger stage, a WTA 1000 event where the points, prize money, and prestige are significantly higher. However, tennis seasons are long stories, and every chapter does not follow the script fans expect. Despite arriving in Doha with rhythm and match sharpness, Eala could not convert that momentum into another strong result. In the opening round, she faced one of the most dangerous types of opponents in modern tennis, a fearless rising star with nothing to lose and everything to gain. That opponent was Czech teenager Teresa Valentova, a player whose aggressive style and confidence have been turning heads across the tour. The match carried extra narrative weight because this was not their first encounter. Valentova had already defeated Eala during the Japan Open in Osaka the previous October. That earlier meeting ended in straight sets, leaving Eala with unfinished business. This Doha clash was supposed to be a chance for redemption, a chance to prove growth and evolution. Instead, the story repeated itself, although this time with a more competitive opening phase. The first set was intense and tightly contested. Both players traded momentum swings, showing flashes of brilliance mixed with moments of nerves. Eala fought hard, matching Valentova's shot for long stretches. But tennis at this level often comes down to a handful of key points, and Valentova managed to stay just a step ahead during the crucial moments. The set eventually went to a tiebreak, where the Czech teenager showed remarkable composure, closing it out 7-6 with a narrow margin. Once Valentova secured that first set, the energy of the match shifted dramatically. Confidence is everything in tennis, especially for young players, and Valentova rode that momentum into the second set. Eala tried to reset, but Valentova began striking the ball with more authority, controlling rallies earlier and putting pressure on Eala's service games. The second set moved much faster, ending 6-1 in Valentova's favor. The final scoreline told a story of two phases, a tight battle early on, followed by a decisive surge from the Czech player. With that victory, Valentova moved forward in the tournament, setting up a second-round clash against fellow Czech and seeded star Karolina Muchova. For Valentova, it represented another major step in her rise up the rankings. For Eala, unfortunately, it marked the end of her Qatar Open campaign before it truly began. This early exit has important consequences, not just emotionally, but mathematically. The WTA ranking system is relentless, and points gained or lost from week to week can reshape a player's standing very quickly. The Qatar Open offers massive rewards because it is a WTA 1000 event. The eventual singles champion will earn a huge prize purse of around $665,000, along with a massive 1,000 ranking points. Those points can transform a season, sometimes even defining it. For Eala, however, the rewards from this tournament are much smaller due to the early loss. For a first-round exit, she will take home approximately $18,300 in prize money. While still a respectable amount, it is far from the life-changing payout available to players who make deep runs. More importantly, the ranking points are limited. Instead of competing for hundreds of points, Eala is set to receive only about 10 ranking points from this tournament. That number becomes significant when you consider where she currently sits in the rankings. Recently, Eala achieved a major milestone by climbing to a career-high ranking of world number 40. That achievement reflected months of consistent performance and steady improvement. But tennis rankings are constantly moving, and without defending or adding points, players can slide backward even if their overall level remains strong. In the live rankings immediately after the loss, Eala had already slipped a few positions, moving down to around world number 43. And because the tournament continues throughout the week, more players still have chances to earn points and move ahead of her. Ranking drops like this are not unusual, especially for young players still building consistency across the entire season. Interestingly, Valentova herself is one of the players benefiting from this shift. Following her win over Eala, the Czech teenager made a strong jump in the live rankings, moving up several places and reaching a provisional career-high position around world number 40. That is the nature of tennis. One match can simultaneously boost one career while slowing another's momentum. Other players are also making moves in the rankings during the same week. Ukrainian player Diana Yastremska, for example, gained ground after winning a tough 3-set match against Kristina Buxa. Even small ranking improvement from other players can create a chain reaction that affects everyone clustered around the same ranking zone. Another notable movement came from Yelena Ostapenko. Her opening round victory in Doha helped her move ahead in the live rankings as well. Because she had finalist points to defend from a previous year, every win was crucial to maintaining her position. Situations like this highlight how complex ranking battles can be. It is never just about one player. It is about dozens of players competing for the same ranking space at the same time. Looking ahead, there is still a possibility that Eala could drop a few more positions before the rankings update next week, depending on how results unfold during the remainder of the Qatar Open. But it is important to remember that one tournament never defines a season. Tennis is about long-term consistency, and Eala has already shown she can produce strong performances at high-level events. If anything, this loss may become a valuable learning experience. Facing the same opponent twice and losing again provides clear data points for improvement. It shows where adjustments need to be made, whether tactically, physically, or mentally. The best players in history often talk about how losses against specific opponents push them to evolve their games. For Eala, the focus will likely shift toward the next tournaments on the calendar. The season is still young, and there are plenty of opportunities to regain ranking ground. The fact that she has already reached a career-high ranking this early in the year is still a huge positive. It proves that her trajectory remains upward, even if there are occasional setbacks along the way. There's also the bigger picture to consider. Eala represents a new wave of talent coming from Southeast Asia, bringing fresh attention and new audiences to women's tennis. Every tournament appearance adds to her experience, her confidence, and her understanding of how to navigate the highest levels of the sport. So while the Qatar Open result was disappointing for her fans, it is far from the end of the story. In fact, moments like this often become turning points. They force players to analyze, adjust, and return stronger. The difference between good players and great players is often how they respond to setbacks like this one. As the season continues, all eyes will be on how Eala bounces back. Will she use this loss as motivation? Will she make tactical changes for future matches against power hitters like Valentova? Those questions will be answered in the coming weeks and months. For now, the Qatar Open moves forward, the rankings continue to shift, and the WTA season keeps building momentum. But one thing remains certain. Alexandra Eala is still one of the most exciting young players on tour, and this chapter, while difficult, is just one step in a much longer journey. And that is why tennis fans around the world will continue watching closely, because careers are not defined by one match, one tournament, or one ranking drop. They're defined by resilience, growth, and the ability to come back stronger every single time.